Good morning, Mama. I'm Mandy, your host, and this is the Empty Nest Mom podcast. No filters, no faking it, just the honest truths about how we see motherhood. Because let's be honest, motherhood isn't Pinterest perfect. It's messy, it's beautiful, it's complicated. And here at the Empty Nest Mom, we're saying the quiet parts out loud. You know, the parts that nobody really posts about. I'm here this morning with my co-hosts, Lauren, Beth, and Michelle. And together we're talking this morning about homeschooling. You know, people talk a lot about how they homeschool, the schedules and the systems and the curriculum hacks and color coded routines. But what I feel like that we don't talk about enough is what it feels like when you're homeschooling from a place of deep calling, but also from exhaustion. Today, I want to introduce you to someone who is living that out in the most faith-filled, messy, beautiful way. One of our own Empty Nest moms, Beth.
Hi.
Beth is a mom of 4 girls. She's a homeschool teacher, a volleyball coach, and now she is also navigating her life with a little bit of college involved. Her oldest is off in college. And so she is doing this all while still pouring into other moms who are just beginning their journeys. She is the kind of mom who shows up with her heart first and her hands full. And today she's here sharing what it really looks like to teach from a place of obedience, not perfection, to be present, not performative. So if you've ever said yes to something God asked you to do, but then whispered, God, are you sure I'm the right one? Well, this one's for you. So let's get into it. All right, Beth, why don't you take a minute and tell us your story?
Okay. Like Mandy said, I have 4 girls. The oldest is 19 and the youngest is 10. And when our oldest was in first grade, I really felt like she needed more out of education and not just what we were doing. And my sister was already homeschooling her oldest son. She always said, "Oh, you should homeschool. You should homeschool." I'm doing it. And I never
Yeah.
thought that I could. I think that I was thinking of when she's in trigonometry or something like that
Yeah,
instead
way
of,
up here for me.
yeah. And I'm like, I can't do that. And I just immediately just had a negative space about it and just didn't feel like I was good enough. And so it just kept eating at me and eating at me. And then finally, when she was going into the second grade, my husband and I, we really felt like, let's try this. Let's take this 1 year at a time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we've done. Every single year that we have homeschooled, we take it a year at a time and
Mm-hmm.
we assess how the girls are doing. And now we had 4 at one time, and we just assess how they're doing. And we just, instead of thinking I've got to do this for
Got
12
to do it all.
years, we just a year at a time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been good.
So what was the catalyst? Was there a catalyst with it that said, I'm doing this right now? Was it a calling? Did you feel that voice just continually whisper to you?
Yeah, I really felt like that we needed to be together as a family. She needed to learn at home. She was having a little bit of trouble at the school she was going to. Nothing really wrong. It just seemed like she was needing more one-on-one time. So that's I just thought, let's try this. Let's try this for second grade. And she really excelled in it. And we had a little one as well. And so it was nice to have the flexibility of being able to be with Adeline and Isabel and not really have the rush
Mm-hmm.
and the hustle and bustle of school, 8 to 3 school time.
Right.
And so she really did thrive in homeschooling. And so when she was going into third grade and then fourth grade and so on, and then we would just add another kid in when they got into be kindergarten and add another. And so then after having 4 girls, it's like a whole classroom there. So
It's a whole classroom and a whole team for volleyball.
exactly. We just needed 2 more.
That's right. That's right.
And so then it just seemed to work with our schedule so that I was able to coach volleyball and things like that. I just took them with me instead of having to be somewhere, to pick her up or, because I didn't really have the flexibility when she was in school I just thought I don't want to go anywhere. I've got to be back at 3 to pick her up.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Right. Well, a little of just kind of a disclaimer here is that's how I met Beth. I met Beth when both of our kids were in school in kindergarten and the first grade, and we just meshed and just always had so much fun together and a lot of common things in life going on. And so I know that we had talked, about that several times about homeschooling. The girls are still great friends and those kind of things. So can you tell everyone if what besides the fact of, I don't know trig because that's coming up and you're always projecting, with those things. What other fears did you probably feel that they might be feeling and questioning now?
the one fear other than making sure they were taught all they needed to be taught
Mm-hmm.
and be able to graduate as if they were in public school or
Mm-hmm.
Christian school or whatever. I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that they were at the same level, at least with their peers, if not
Mm-hmm.
higher.
Mm-hmm.
The other fear was that they wouldn't fit in or if they would have a hard time socially. When we started, Isabel was in second grade, like I said. There wasn't a lot of groups and things that I knew about and whatnot. Kids that I knew that schooled at home, they weren't in groups and they really didn't have a community. And that's what I wanted for my kids. And so my sister was in a group, a co-op, if you will. And we are still in that co-op today. And it has been such a blessing to be able to go and once a week spend time with our friends and other moms and other families and have that outlet.
Yeah. So let me pause you right there because I know, Michelle, when you and I went to public school, and I just want to say that we're a little bit on the older side. But when you and I went to public school, Beth made a valid point, in kind of sitting there and thinking, getting along with everyone or would interacting with people and have difficulties with that. I know that when we went to school, homeschool was really not a thing. I mean,
No.
it was
Yeah, I mean,
usually
the
a
only people
college.
I knew that did it actually came back to school and were behind where they should be.
Yes, yes. And so reflecting on that, I know some of us probably look at that and think, oh, well, that's kind of where we're, but that stigma seems to be gone now
Yeah.
with it. And so I know I worried about that. We've had several conversations, with that. So what do you talk about this co-op? Can you explain that just a little bit more? Something that might help everyone. What is that? How do they,
Yeah.
how would they get into that?
So our particular co-op, there's several in the area that I live, but this one it meets once a week on Friday from 9:30 till noon.
Mhm.
And it has a time together for devotion or get to know you. We just play fun games sometimes. Like if you're a pancake person, go to the right. If you're waffles, go to the left. And so stuff like that. And then they have for high school, they have 2 classes. There's been speech or biology, things that you really wouldn't want to do with just your siblings or your mom. I definitely did not want to teach biology, but we we
No
had
kidding.
a girl, her mom was still in the co-op at the time, and she had graduated and went and got her master's in biology and was able to then come back and teach that class for our high schoolers. They dissected lots of things. Yummy. And, then that was actually an accredited class for them. So right now, my 13-year-old is doing sign language, and,
Oh,
it was
wow.
it was really funny because we were, somewhere, I think we were in a restaurant or something, and she started signing to her older sister, and she goes, "I'm insulting Adeline in sign language." I was Yay! I was like, "Oh, okay." And we had no idea. I was like, "Oh, nice."
That's great.
The the joys of sisters.
Sister to be
So,
loved.
Yes. So it's stuff like that. It's just really fun to do as a group.
Yeah. Yeah.
I taught personal finance for the high schoolers 1 year. They'll do PE, health class, stuff like that.
Mhm.
It just depends on the year, but it's just
Right.
really nice. And then at noon, we go to Chick-fil-A. So
Chick-fil-A.
it's the
Who doesn't
Friday
love
thing.
some
We go to Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A? That's right.
Yeah.
I made it.
Right.
That's
So
hilarious.
we know of other groups that meet every week for like 8 hours. It's like a hybrid. We know some co-ops that meet twice a week or once a
Hmm.
month or twice a month. So it just kind of depends on what your needs are. I really enjoy what we chose because it's every week and it's not there. I mean, it's more social than,
Right.
you know,
Right. So
there's no
anyone
homework or
question
anything.
there you go. Over and done. I don't know. I'm telling you, the homework over the years is a killer for a parent, just
Yeah.
as much as a kid. I'm telling you, lots of fun, happy times at that kitchen table going over math, right, Lauren?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
But okay, so you talked about that, about having other kids around and stuff. So what was important to you with that? I know that you have the co-op, but what else was important to you in make sure that they were with other kids and surrounding other kids? And then how did you go about that? What were your thoughts on that?
I really just enjoyed being able to get out of because I like being at home. I really do. But
Yeah.
I also love the fact that we can go and it's very relaxed
Yes.
and they can just be with their friends. They and one other thing I will mention is there is a full graduation ceremony for them.
That's
So
important. I would wonder about
yeah,
that.
it was cap and gown and the full thing, and being able to do that with other kids. I When I first started, I thought, "Well, she's just gonna walk in our living room," and I was like, "This
I'm
is
gonna get you
so
a crap off Amazon.
weird." Yeah.
Yep.
So it was just nice to have some of those things along with the flexibility and the freedom to homeschool too.
Whenever you're talking about that too, I know, and to me it would be important. Like my daughter was in gymnastics, and when you and I had spoke about that, we did travel softball, travel volleyball, gymnastics, blah blah, all this stuff. And so to me, as a parent, something like that would be important so that you get those communication skills. You're around other kids and stuff. What did you choose to do to kind of put them with other kids besides the co-op, obviously?
We're in dance, and we've been in dance since Isabel was 2. I think she was turning 2 that year. And we are involved in our church, and that was is
Okay.
nice to be. And so it actually being able to homeschool freed us up to do so much more. Now my kids volunteer at places during the day that, they wouldn't have been able to do. They'll go and work with kids at the library. They go and work with special needs kids during the day. And these classes and these times, they would be in school normally
Right.
in a classroom. So it's been really nice to be able to open them up to be able to do things like that.
Right, right. Yeah, that really does, help teach so many more things other than standing in line and how long can you stand there and hold to go to the bathroom. And, that belief system you talked about you making sure you're involved in church and stuff and so that you're recognizing that belief system that you want them to be around. Can you go back and tell us a little bit about like kind of your typical week? What does that look like? Between you teaching the girls at home, I mean, do you use the kitchen table? How do you do those things and coaching and everything else? I mean, you are a busy lady.
Yeah, I it has evolved over the years, I will tell you. So when we first started, I thought we were going to have this room. It's going to be the school room, and we had a school desk, and all it was piled with junk. So we didn't use it. We actually just use the kitchen table now. And that's after all these years of homeschooling. It just works best. Now that I work outside the home part time, we have to get flexible again
Yeah.
because I was giving them the responsibility of do these tasks and was realizing while mom was at work, it wasn't getting done.
Yep. Yep. If the teacher's not in that classroom,
Yeah.
Michelle, I know what those boys did, don't you? Remember,
Yeah.
it was always the boys. It was never the girls.
Oh, I was like, well, no more school on Monday. So we do 3 days a week, and we just, do enough pages in our books so what the curriculum I do is it needs to be this particular book needs to be completed in 3 weeks to be
Okay.
on track to complete the whole system in a school year.
Now, does it
So I
go off
just
as science stuff as well? I mean, is there like,
no.
okay, I
No, you
wasn't.
just do whatever you want. There's all sorts of curriculums nowadays, even more so than when I started. And so you just basically choose what works for you and your family and then just go from there. But we just do 3 days a week, and then our Friday is for catch up if we, had a busy week or someone wasn't feeling well, and so that we're not behind. Or it's just if everyone's caught up and it's like a free day, let's go explore and do something fun and learn outside the home,
Field
and we'll go
trips.
and do field trips. Uh, so that's how we do it. We all go at the table and it's a funny story. Algebra 2 is upon us for the junior, and then one is doing like hard fractions. And they are just there's some years no one really needs my help. This year,
Yeah.
2 people need my help. And so I said, well, save math for my lunch break. And so on Thursday, I went home and I've got Algebra 2 to my left and mixed fractions to my right. And
No math lunch.
then the one across me goes, can you help me with this English? And I was like, hold on. I got to switch my brain from algebra and fractions to now you.
Over.
So, so thankfully, they learn patience or they'll just work on something else
Yes.
because I'm like, and where's the X? And now what is the common denominator?
And where is that verb and that noun?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom. No one follow me.
That's hilarious.
It's Yeah, last year no one needed me. And this year 3 people need me. It's fine. It's
Yep,
fine.
I got it. I
It
got
ebbs
it.
and flows.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you're present. You're present with them, and
Yes.
and
Yes, I
that
try.
that makes a huge difference with it. And so your week looks extremely chaotic. It sounds like.
I like to be done with school by lunch and especially before we leave for our afternoon evening activities
Gotcha.
because I've heard that I'll do it when I get home before bed way too many times. I'm like, you ain't
Yeah,
doing it. No, you ain't gonna do it.
I got you figured out.
So, if it's not done before we leave, it's probably not getting done that day.
You know
I
it.
I I know it.
Yep.
So, Monday, we don't do school. Tuesday, they have to be out of the house to dance, by 3, and then I go off to volleyball practice. So, I like Tuesdays and Wednesdays to be done as quick
Yeah.
as possible. Like, noon, 1 o'clock is fine, and it doesn't take that long, really,
Yeah.
if we don't
Stay
piddle
on
and zone
task.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got one that she'll be like, I'm like, "You okay?" She goes, "I am so zoning out." Okay. So
Well,
am
and they
I.
get to be themselves, you know? I mean, that's a
Yes.
lot. That's a
We
lot.
laugh. Sometimes they'll say, "Mom, can you turn on some music?" And I'll turn on some music in the background low, and
That's
sometimes
awesome.
they'll put the little dog up on their lap, and they're doing their school around the dog, and I'm like,
Yep.
"Whatever. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wanna go to the
However you
couch? You wanna go to the floor? That's
Yeah.
fine."
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because the schools have done all those studies about like when my kids were in school and stuff, and I was on the school board and all this, and they did all the studies about bringing in the couches or bringing in those big cushion chairs, and the environment is when they learn the best and stuff. And even on that level, there's a lot of validity to that works better. It's just can a public school system do it?
Right. It's a
With
lot.
it.
I understand it's tough for
Yes.
you to, you know, mix 20 some people in a classroom
Right.
to do what this person needs to this person.
Exactly.
So they
Exactly.
have to do what's best for the majority of the group. I totally
Yes.
understand it.
Yes. So what you're saying is you say yes each year to homeschooling. So if there was an option and one of them came to you and spoke to you, is like, hey mom, I don't know, the homeschooling it's good, but I kind of just want to go to public school.
Yeah, we've had the conversations every year, and now they have so many friends in public school and homeschool, and a lot of their public school friends are like, man, I wish I could homeschool
Yeah.
because they love now. They're older. They love the freedom. They love being able to just do what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And we have one that's wanting to play soccer for public school because the state that we live in has passed where homeschoolers can try out just like any public school
Wow.
student.
Yeah.
And she wants to play soccer. So we are discussing that right now.
Yeah.
I'm always open to talking about it, and I think it would be good for her.
Yeah.
And I think that she would be good at it. So that's something that we'll be venturing in come this spring,
Absolutely.
possibly.
Yeah. That's awesome. The
Yeah.
opportunities have opened up so much now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to only speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for Miss Michelle, but from the time frame of when I was in school to now, it's like that has, I mean, that would have never, no one would have ever thought that that was possible,
Right.
with it. Like Michelle had said, it was just kind of like, those kids, when they come back, they were behind, but they didn't have the curriculum that was readily available to be able
Yeah.
to do those things. It was kind of locked down then, kind of like the teacher's guides. Now you can buy off Amazon. I mean, I don't want to.
Well, not to age us, but the internet wasn't really around back then.
I mean, to be fair, like, we didn't have a lot of kids, and I didn't know any
No.
homeschooled kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I still, not to date us, but I remember in fourth grade still taking that one computer and doing this. And it had like the computer was like 3 foot wide and 3 foot deep in Mr. Roark's class and him saying, don't type that. And it was the green color,
honestly, it was probably the same computer I used because we went to the same district.
That district, yes.
Yes.
But yes. So Beth, what do you feel like surprised you most when you said yes to homeschooling? What do you think has surprised you the most once you were in it?
Oh, wow. I would say the
Well, let's go back. Let's talk about what surprised you the most for the kids. And then let's
yes.
talk about what surprised you the most, good or bad.
Okay. What surprised me most is how close the kids would be. Being together 24/7, basically 7 days a week. I didn't know what that would look like for us. And we can all be together and we just enjoy each other. And obviously there's times where like we've got to have a second. But I didn't realize we would not need those breaks as often as I thought. I thought we would be at each other's throats, honestly.
Yes.
But it's actually surprised me how close the girls are. And what another thing that surprised me was when you're in homeschooling, you're not just with like for Isabel at the time. Let's say she's in a grade that's with just 13-year-olds. She's just with
Hmm.
13-year-olds all the time. So when Isabel was 13, she was in a class and she would be in a co-op with 18-year-olds,
Yep.
8-year-olds. She's in a house with her siblings.
Yep.
So Adeline really has a love for the elderly, and she goes and she helps,
That's awesome.
and but she'll sit there and visit with a 97-year-old woman, like, and because she's been able to adapt to, she's not just with her peers all the time,
Yeah.
and so that really surprised me that, and it is also it's just because we are not just closed into ourselves. There are
Right.
some families that do. They don't have a group or anything, and that's fine. But you can tell that they have a hard time
Right. The adjustment
sometimes
is a little bit different.
carrying on a conversation. It
Yeah.
is. And so what surprised me the most about myself was that and it's not every day. I actually just kind of went off the rails the other day. It just wasn't a great day. And I said, all right, tomorrow's going to be better. And to be able to just forgive myself
Yep.
for those moments. And we just give each other grace. My daughter gave me grace in that moment and I asked her to forgive me. I was like, Mama's stressed out. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And
Yeah.
she was good. And so it's just nice to be able to, fail and then have
Yeah.
forgiveness and be
Yeah.
able to do better the next day.
Yeah. Well, and so that was another thing I wanted to kind of talk to you about was how your faith comes through for you when you are feeling overwhelmed and those chaotic days. And because there has to be, because I know there is for teachers. And that's their job, where they home is here and they go to school and they do the work and then they go back. And you're just there, excuse me, every time, all day long. But also, having the availability to, because it is a contentious subject in public schools about faith and worshiping and doing all those things in it. So no matter if you agree or you disagree with that as a homeschool parent, then you can do that as you see deemed fit. How do you feel like your faith kind of carries you through that on that chaotic time? Overwhelming, and does it happen a lot? And what advice would you give a mom?
It happened a lot more when we were first starting out. And I will say it's because I really needed to settle into our routine. I was
Mhm.
trying to fit what we were going to do into what other homeschool moms were telling me what they were doing. And I kept thinking, oh, well, so and so does this with her kids, and they wake up at 8 a.m. and do the Pledge of Allegiance and
Yeah.
whatever. And I kept thinking, I'm failing because we're not doing that. I'm not getting it together. And I just kept thinking, this is what everyone needs to be doing. And I finally just rested in, we need to do what is best for us.
Yeah.
And if the girls sleeping in till 9:30, 10, and waking up, and let's do it in our pajamas at the table, and just if things start getting a little tense and they're not understanding something, let's just walk away for a second.
Yeah.
And that's where I've evolved as a homeschool mom and just a person in general. I just had so much pressure on myself that it was coming across to the kids. And I recognize that now. At the time, I didn't know what it was. I just thought, I'm horrible at teaching my kids. I can't do this. And they're just going to be, lost because
Right.
I'm pushing this homeschool thing on them.
Yeah.
And so faith was a big reason why I felt like I could do this, because it's just, you just rest in making sure your home has peace. And like what you were saying about faith and just being a huge part, sometimes when things get crazy, we just dance it out, and
Yep.
we just turn on music, and we
Yep.
we just and we'll just be silly, and it just resets the whole thing. I mean, because I could
Really.
understand when I was in school, if I wasn't understanding something, I had a teacher, and I wasn't homeschooled. I had a teacher she would scream at me and hit me in the head with a pin
Oh,
in the end because I wasn't getting
unreal.
it. And so I understand it can be frustrating, but then you have to realize, all right, the way I'm saying this isn't clicking. But what is so cool is if you explain something in a different way to your child and you see the light bulb go off,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, and
No.
so then, and it's just so rewarding to me.
Yeah.
So like when I was teaching Algebra 2, this little trick that I always did to kinda get through, and I taught it to her, and she goes, "Oh!"
That's awesome. I get it. I
So
get it.
so that's it, that really carries us through. We know that now, after doing it for so long, we if it's not clicking the first time, then I'm like, "Give me a second. Let me read through some
Kinda
stuff
go
and
through.
see if we can
Yeah.
explain this a different way." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what do you hope with your daughters that they come away with from homeschooling? What do you hope they carry
Mm,
with them?
that's a good question. I hope they carry with them that they can do anything. They can do hard things. They I watch them with my own eyes work through things that I wouldn't have been able to see them work through had I not been there. The same with sports. But, if they choose when they have children, if they have children someday, not to homeschool, it's okay. It's you do what's best for your family and your children. And if sending them to school is the best, know that they'll come home to a wonderful mama and that they'll be all right. It just doesn't matter, if what other people are doing. Just do what you need to do for yourself.
Even if that means take a day or two to kind of focus and get back on, is what it sounds like, and you've done that
Yeah.
yourself with it. It
Yep.
sounds like.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Listen, moms, if anything I've shared today has brought up any questions that you have, come hang out with me on the Mom Circle. You just subscribe from the website, and I can chat with you there about anything, any questions that come up, anything that you need.
That's awesome because that's a great outlet, Beth, for you to answer questions on. So, yeah, to hang out there and answer those questions. It's a private Facebook group that we started. It's called the Mom Circle. We just need you to go subscribe. That's a great point. And then you'll receive that invitation, right, Lauren? Is that how that works?
Yep. It's actually a part of your email address. Once you put your email in, you should have access within like the next 24 to 48 hours.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. That'll be a great thing. Now, Beth isn't the only one that is navigating, like the teaching and growing and all that other kind of stuff. We have Lauren. Lauren, you actually did homeschool your oldest for a little bit, right?
Yeah, we did like half a semester. No, half a year
Mm-hmm.
of an online homeschool. So it
Yeah.
wasn't technically homeschooling, but it was just like an online public school. It still gave you the freedom to pick your own hours, and you could wake up at 10 and then work until noon, and then maybe work from 5 to 6 if he needed to catch up. Whatever he needed to do, he could do it. But it just did not work out for us. My children just need to be around other kids.
I think he wanted to try it and thought it sounded good and then realized that he still had to do the homework.
That's exactly correct. We do not do well teaching him. I don't know how to phrase that any better. Like, he would rather listen to somebody else, and he didn't want to listen to his parents teach him, even though he was being taught by someone else. It was
And his father is a teacher.
His father is a teacher, yes. So but it just didn't work out. They're just too social, and that's going to be the same way for my youngest. I can already tell because she wants to be out of the house constantly. She would rather she loves preschool. She loves other children. Our kids are very big talkers, and they always have been. I would love to homeschool, and I would love to have them home with me. That is something I've always wanted, and being a stay-at-home mom is really awesome, like with Quinn, but it is a big struggle. Because I hate pickup, I hate drop off.
The line
and the traffic, I absolutely despise. And also just all of the security issues around.
Yeah, it's scary. There's a lot of scary
school.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish that I could homeschool them. And I know if I really needed to, but I know that they like school better.
You're right.
Public school better.
Right.
So
yes. The activities and the stuff surrounded by it works for your family at this point. Not to say that it might not in a year, but right now you feel like that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if my oldest could mature just a little bit,
Yeah.
that we could probably transition into doing
And maybe
online
drop
or
some attitude.
homeschool. If you can figure out how to fix that, please.
Please
I'm
contact
begging
me at-
you. Please, I'm begging you. Come to this Facebook group. Tell me how to parent my child.
Here right now, what I would say is you're in the wrong place because you're the only one with a boy. We've all got girls.
Please help me.
True.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah. And I think that's it. I think that you're also open to every year, kind of like Beth, talked, you're open for those conversations, but here are the rules with it. And you have to outline it, to go with it. Well, and I know for myself and Michelle, we were more career driven and, always present with our kids and are now empty nesters. I didn't homeschool. You didn't ever homeschool, did you?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Again, I want to go back to that. I mean, to me, if someone would have come to me and said, you're being homeschooled, I would have thought I was in trouble. I'd done something wrong or something big would have happened. That's how I saw it. What about you, Michelle?
Well, I never thought of homeschooling my kids because I am not how Beth was talking about, making sure they have it done in the time frame that they need. You need to have it done in order for us to go do these activities because I know you won't do it when we get home. I would never have been hardcore enough to actually make them get it done, we would have been behind all the time.
But see, I don't see you that way at all. I see you
Uh,
just on task and I do. That's how I've
not
always seen you.
Not I mean, I am when it comes to a lot of things, but not when it comes to making them do things they didn't wanna do.
I guess I see that because also when we've done all these things in these different events and stuff, you know who my back person is telling me, Mandy, did you get this done? Did you do this? You always kept me on track, always.
Yes.
As someone who didn't homeschool, Michelle, but you were deeply invested in your kids' growth. You were always there. They always knew that they could call you. You'd drop it in a minute and be there for them. And you had family and stuff that were so
Yeah.
invested with them. What do you wish more moms knew about doing what's right for your family, even when it looks different from others? What advice would you give them? Like it looks different for Beth. It looks different for Lauren. What would you tell them as a reflection now looking back?
Well, I mean, I just think that you have to do what's right for your kids. I don't think my kids would have done well being homeschooled
Mm-hmm.
because I think they needed to be put in those social situations because they both Skylar was always very quiet. I think she went her whole kindergarten year without speaking in class. And even Kaiten, she was wild before she went to school. But when she first started school, she became very quiet and timid. So they needed to be put in situations where it required that they be drawn out socially.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was better for them. They both hated preschool, and I ended up taking Kaiten out of preschool because I couldn't handle the crying every day when I dropped her off.
Yes.
But we had it very clearly laid out to her that, you have to go to kindergarten. It wasn't an option. And
Right.
I don't think that either one of them would have done very well if they hadn't gone to public school. I also think them getting jobs, working when they were in high school helped them. It gave them confidence that they didn't have prior to that. So
Absolutely.
I think different kids require different things to help them grow. And I just don't think homeschooling would have been good for my kids. It wouldn't have been good for my mental state. So I think that we made the right choice.
So basically telling moms, hey, you do what you need to do for you and your family
And your family,
and
for
your
sure.
kids and stand up for that and not second guess it every day of your life. You do anyway. And mom guilt, and I totally get that. But to just stand up and every day wake up and say, I'm doing what I feel like is best for me, my kids, my family, and continue going on without looking back, continually going forward, because we're always going to have those regrets no matter what, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, I think evaluating it every year is probably a good thing because
Agree with that.
we didn't do that. It was always just, they go to public
Yeah.
school. And I think that probably doing that would have been a good idea. There were a couple of years, like when Skylar first started high school, that were very difficult for her. It
Yes.
might have been better if she would have been homeschooled at that time.
Mhm.
But we just kind of got in the rut of always going to public school and never really
Yeah.
evaluated whether or not it was the right thing at that time in the kid's life.
Right. Well, and I think too, we didn't know those options. I would have never known there was an option for, online, like Lauren talked about, and, those things. I would have never known that. We're in a smaller town that we don't see the advertisements and stuff, probably in the algorithms and different things as much as what we would, with it. But, on that line also, Michelle, what would you tell a mom who, is comparing her parenting styles with someone else on why that's poisonous to you? What advice would you get? I mean, what would you look at and say, don't compare? You
Well, I
could do
mean,
that.
yeah, you can't. I mean, your situation is never going to be exactly like someone else's. So you should never compare the two. Your child is never going to be exactly like someone else's. Their strengths are never going to be exactly the same as some other kids. So you really have to base it on your child and your family situation because no one is like you.
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay. And so looking back, I like your reflection of sitting there thinking, I wish I would have. I mean, that's great advice, Beth. Absolutely great advice just to reflect and think each year and take it as an individual assessment versus just as a conglomerative, but also not knowing those opportunities and the options that were available, can stunt you with it. But
Right.
on the reverse side, I want to look at it just for a minute because Michelle and I are both empty nesters. And so Michelle is officially the empty nester now. And so what has been just putting things in reflection here, what is one of your biggest surprises now that you've just kind of realized in the last little bit about being in the empty nest, Michelle?
The amount of cooking I do has gone down like 90%.
And that's a good thing?
I used to always feel like I have to make sure I make dinner. I have to feed my children, even when they were older. And even if I didn't even know if they were going to be home for dinner, I felt like
I
I needed to
remember
cook
that, yeah.
dinner. And now I'm like, I'm not hungry. If you're hungry, you can cook yourself something.
Exactly. That's, and a lot of time I don't eat, but here's a little other thing, and this is for another episode, but I tell you what, even if I don't eat with menopause, I still gain weight.
I don't think
It's
that's
not
just
good.
menopause. So
You have no idea what you're going to look forward to.
No idea. We will not scare you. I would like to ask you, for a mom that is sitting there and she is wondering and she just keeps beating herself up. Should I do it? Should I not do it? What am I doing? Am I hurting my kid? My kid's in school and they're not thriving. What is your ending advice for them that you would give them on here? A, just as in a whole, but B, knowing that they can come also talk to you in our exclusive Facebook community. Once they've subscribed, they can continue to ask you things. But what would you say right now if a mom just is sitting there and they're really, really struggling with it?
Really struggling with if they should homeschool or not.
Should not.
I would say if you try the opposite of what you're currently doing, you can always go back to what you were if it's just not working out. If I had pulled Isabel out to homeschool her and it was not going well at all, I can re-enroll her or I can go look for another school. If it wasn't public school, I could see if there's a Christian school that was an option or
Right.
go back to the school that we were in. And so I would just say there's no harm in trying something new.
Right.
I wouldn't, if it's continually not going well either way, then try to switch it. I wouldn't force something
Right.
just because we've got to do it.
Maybe make a list of your options and then start with the one that you view as the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd just say keep your options open and just be able to be flexible in either way.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. And Michelle, what's your ending advice for our moms today?
Don't cook dinner every night.
Cereal.
Cereal night.
Have you ever seen the progressive commercial where the lady goes, and what you're going to make for dinner every night for the rest of your life? That's the way I felt.
To feed you?
Again? You're hungry again?
and it doesn't stop after 18 years, apparently.
It does not.
Great.
And Lauren, what's your ending advice as a mom in the middle of everything?
I think don't be too hard on yourself. After I pulled Channing from like the online homeschool situation, I really beat myself up. Like, wow, I just can't do it. And that wasn't the case at all. It wasn't me. It was entirely my child and who he is and what he needs. And I just think it's really
Absolutely.
important not to think of yourself as a terrible parent in those moments, because if you are thinking about your kid or even thinking that you are a terrible parent, there is a huge chance that you are actually a very good parent.
Yeah. Yes.
Very cool.
That's a good one.
Got a homeschool question you've been holding on to? Beth is always hanging out in our exclusive group on Facebook called the Mom Circle. She's always answering your real raw questions, from curriculum overwhelm to mom guilt and everything in between. The Mom Circle is our private Facebook group, and it's only for subscribers. Subscribe now at theemptynestmom.com.